Hello, I'm Reverend Kate from the Center for Spiritual Living in Carlsbad, California. And I'm here today to talk about choosing creativity. The picture behind me is a picture of the dawn this morning. I took it and it just kind of inspired me to share with you the idea that we're always at a point of beginning. We're always at a point of a fresh start and we can make new choices. So, first off, have you even thought that it's possible to choose to be creative? Or do you think that creative people are special, born that way, and kind of different from most people? Well, I'll tell you right now, everyone is born with the capacity to be creative, but often that creativity gets bottled up and seems impossible to tap into. In the book, The Power of Decision, by Dr. Raymond Charles Barker, and I've been highlighting this book all month, Dr. Barker says that it's as though a person's mind becomes calcified, so choked up with old ideas that new ones can't get through. So, what can we do about it? And actually, should we even care about doing anything about it? Well, to begin with, the basic truth is that each person, each one of us, is actually a perfect expression of spirit or God. Each of us is created from spirit. We live in spirit. We live through spirit, and we know this because of the simple fact that God is all there is. So therefore, even our material world and our very own selves must be made of the stuff of spirit of God, because there's nothing else. Now, of course, I'm not saying that each of us is God, merely that each of us exists as unique something in infinite, universal spirit, the source of everything. The source which is always creating, always expanding. And therefore, since that is true, we also must have the capacity to be creative in our thoughts and deeds. In fact, Dr. Barker says we each have an equal with each other ability to think creatively, but not to think exactly the same things. He says that we should just go to a nearby public park and take time to really look at the trees. Not one of them is average. Each is distinct, different, and has its own special character. The creative power did not make one tree. Its idea of tree, like all its other ideas, is one of infinite variety. Each full-grown tree has total self-expression and uniqueness. It's not like any other tree. Now, Barker says, now think of your own consciousness and ask yourself, does your own consciousness have any uniqueness in it? Are there any creative ideas in it? Of course. The fact is that we are not the same. And there is no such thing as an average person, just like there is no such thing as an average tree. You are perfectly endowed with the capacity for inspiration, for life. All you have to do is open your mind up to it. Imagine for a moment an old-fashioned hourglass, something like a big egg timer. Then imagine that at the top, instead of sand, the top part represents the universal intelligence filled with all possible ideas in the universe. Then imagine that the bottom section represents the material world as you experience it. Well, that middle part, that narrow part, that skinnies it all down and filters what will come through, how much will come through, that must represent your consciousness. You are the receiver and the distributor of the ideas that shape your world, that shape your experience, that shape your feelings. You actually play a key role in bringing ideas into the world for yourself and for all of us. You do this by being open to inspiration. So where do you think that artists, poets, inventors get their ideas? From the very same source where you get your ideas. Our human consciousness has the ability to access infinite consciousness. But can you really learn to do it? The answer is yes, if you are willing to try. Yes, if you are willing to be flexible in your thinking, to look at yourself as you actually are, and then to imagine more, to seek more. The fact is that a lot of people have very limited desires. They want to have an orderly life with enough of what they need, and they don't want to undergo change. They may actually be afraid of new ideas. Or they could have an attitude of self-satisfaction. I'm already fine. Everything I'm doing is right. Thinking that they've already mastered everything needed. And I say people as though I were talking about someone else. Like it's other people, not me or you. But actually, we all have some parts of our mind that are closed, shut down, or rigid. Barker explained this through talking about the metaphysical idea of the story in the Bible, where the parents of Jesus were told there's no room at the inn, saying that this part of the story is symbolic of the closed mind that does not want new ideas to enter it, that rejects the birth of new possibilities. It's our curiosity that opens up the door to new opportunities, new possibilities, new ways of thinking. And yes, sometimes new ideas can disrupt our old ways of living in ways that might feel uncomfortable at first, but actually with a positive attitude, it can be great fun to have and live these adventures in thinking, these thoughts, these inspirations that can lead to breakthroughs in our understanding of ourselves and others, and that can lead to breakthroughs in how we live and in what we cherish. If you want to feel more creative, become more curious, and seek answers, get inspired to try out new ideas, to try out new activities, and recognize that it is your consciousness that determines your experience, your consciousness that lets new ideas flow through into your conscious mind. So, what blocks the new ideas? What constricts that funnel, that we were talking about with the hourglass? Well, negative thoughts, worry, fear, indecisiveness. I know those negative thoughts pretty well myself, and I know it can take constant diligence to overcome them, but you can do it because it's your mind, and you can think whatever you want with your mind. You can actually choose your thoughts as carefully and as easily as you can choose what you want for breakfast. Seems strange. But, for instance, I was on vacation, and when I flew home, I twisted my back on the last airplane flight home. When I was resting yesterday, honestly, at first my thoughts were just, ouch, ouch. But I pulled myself together enough to think more creatively about my situation. And so I asked our center's prayer team to do prayer treatment for me, for my condition. And I began to think about what I should do about my situation, what to do, instead of just thinking about how I felt about it. I chose to change my thinking. I opened up to new ideas, and my life began to change. I thought, oh, I'll get an ice pack. I'll get a heating pad. I'll do meditation. And by thinking through, being able to let go of that feeling of fear and pain, I opened up to new ideas. It's that simple. That's how the hourglass principle works. Open up to the good. Creativity can bring you ideas to solve all kinds of problems. Creativity can bring you ideas that will bring interesting people and interesting ideas into your life. We just need to be less constricted in our thinking and more open to the flow of good. We just need to be willing to see life as it is and decide what we would like to change, what we would like to see more of in our life, and be open to new possibilities. In his book, Dr. Barker says that the biggest problem most people face that limits their creativity is simply their feelings about the past. He says that we hang on to the past so hard that it causes this calcified thinking. It's like, have you ever tried to open up an old faucet handle and it just won't turn because the accumulations of minerals from the water have locked it in place? Sometimes you just have to clean out the old ideas to make way for new ones. Get rid of ideas that no longer serve you and free yourself up to see things clearly. Loosen up the old constrictions. The other problem is just doubt. You get an idea, but then you let go of it because of doubt and uncertainty. Have you ever had an idea about something, but taken no action and let it slip away? Because you kind of felt half-hearted. It seemed good, but then, maybe not. Has this ever happened to you? It's happened to me. For instance, I've thought, I'd like to paint a picture of that when I see a great scene like, a sunrise or a sunset. But afterwards, I tend to think, I'm not really able to paint. Maybe that's not how I should spend my time. Yeah, I can say that a woman who studied at our center a few years ago did take up her desire to paint seriously, did tap into her inner creativity, started painting, and she is now a fabulous artist after just a few years of following through on that inspiration. You've got to stay positive. You've got to believe in your ideas. That's all it takes to move your creative ideas from possibility to reality. So Dr. Barker gives us a very simple prescription for accessing and using our creativity that is our divine inheritance. Start with curiosity, then move to inspiration. Let the ideas flow and then make a decision. Then follow it up with directed, clear thinking. What next? Dr. Barker is absolutely correct, and I'd like to add a couple of more thoughts. First, cultivate what's called a beginner's mind. Recognize and stay mindful that you live in the now. You don't live in yesterday. You don't live in tomorrow. This is a mindfulness practice of recognizing that each moment really is an opportunity for a new beginning, a new way of living. And second, and this helps me a lot, when you feel hesitant, when you feel doubts, when you feel a little afraid to step out and do something, call up the feeling of caring. Creative cooks care about what they are cooking, who they are feeding, right? They don't get involved too much with fear about, will this cake turn out all right? Because they are filled with an attitude of caring. Creative car mechanics care about the cars and their customers. Creative homemakers care about their homes and their families. Caring is a form of sharing love And creativity is also a form of sharing your good ideas with the world, with people you love, and with yourself. Allowing this creativity to flow is actually a wonderful experience. So care about yourself. Allow these ideas to come forth. Creativity is a form of sharing. And when you care about what you are sharing, fear melts away and life seems okay. So use these mental techniques. Consider reading The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker to learn more about the power of decision. And if you would like to know more about our Center for Spiritual Living in Carlsbad, or if you would like prayer treatment, simply go to our website at www.cslcarlsbad.org for more information. Now, I'd like to close by reading a spiritual mind treatment written by Dr. Barker. If you have the book, it's on page 131, 132. If you'd like to close your eyes, know this with me. There is one mind, God, the source and activity of all creative ideas. This mind is my mind now. I am one with the mind and the heart of being. My consciousness is its beloved creation. In me, God thinks. In me, God feels. I am an open channel for all spiritual ideas. My consciousness welcomes them, and my subconscious mind accepts them and acts upon them. There is no mental or emotional congestion in me. Everything that would impede the flow of God's ideas through me is now denied in my consciousness. All negative states are now erased and shall act no more. I am now the means by which heaven is revealed as earth, and earth is revealed as heaven. My uncongested consciousness is now replete, filled with creative action that produces in my experience greater health, greater wealth, greater love and communication, and complete self-expression. I declare this is so. My subconscious mind accepts this treatment completely and acts upon it now. That's the truth. And so it is. Have a wonderful, healthy, prosperous, happy, and very creative week. Blessings to you, and so it is.